Well, it's amazing. I have just read this. I've been looking at this for over a week. I've just read the actual CQC draft Adult Social Care Assessment Framework. And this is a version 9, the document that they've put together out for consultation before June the 12th. And I want to tell you, as someone that spent 35 years in care, running their own care homes, I've sat through so many CQC inspections that that I care to count, really. And what I found in this document is that it will directly affect care homes rating from the end of 2026 onwards. I'm going to walk you through some of the specific sections that affect person-centered care activities, because that's what I want to focus on. That's where I am at the moment. And engagement, because I think it's such an important part that tends to get put to one side. We're so focused on the care, the clinical aspect, medical care, etc., but we're not focusing on this section. And now we need to really start focusing on this. And I am going to tell you exactly what the outstanding looks like, according to my opinion, from this CQC draft. What looks good, and also what will be for you to require an improvement, for example. So stay with me, because this is really important. Now, first of all, let me explain what this document is and why it matters to us right now. The CQC, they published this draft Adult Social Care Assessment Framework for public consultation. The consultation, it closes on the 12th of June 2026, and after that, around the summer of 2026, CQC will confirm the final framework and also the implementation that's expected from you by the end of 2026. This matters. You got a window right now to understand what is coming and build your evidence systems before it becomes mandatory. The framework, it is like 24 key lines of inquiries known as KLOEs for each one of CQC published ratings characteristics. Specifically, this description of what outstanding, good, requires improvement, inadequate looks like in practice. So they are not guidance notes. These are your measuring stick. You've got to take this seriously. When an inspector sits and looks at your evidence, they're sat right in front and they're looking at your evidence, they will be looking at all of these characteristics and deciding whether your home fits. Where does it sit in these characteristics? So what I want to focus on today in this section is that most are directly affected by person-centered engagement, because this is really the biggest change that has happened, and where most care homes are currently unprepared. I've seen it over and over again. So let's look at the caring domain. What has changed? The first thing I want to highlight to you is this. The overall statement of the caring key question in the new framework is staff involved and treat you with compassion, kindness, and dignity and respect. We all know about these words, but really we got to know about putting it into action. Okay, and there are specific I statements as well, things that residents themselves should be able to say about their care, which they do, but to a certain degree we're kind of leading from the CQC side of things and the home itself. But they want to be, I'm treated with respect and dignity, which you are doing that. I'm in control of planning my care and support. What does that involve? Does it involve all of their care and support? What control do they truly have? And if I need help with this, people who know and care about me will be involved. I can keep in touch and meet up with people who are important to me, including family and friends, people who share my interests, identity, my culture, for example. I can live the life I want and do the things that are important to me as an independent as possible. These are not aspiration statements. These are what CQC inspectors will be testing you against, your home against. They will be talking to the residents, as you know, talking to families, reading your records and checking whether these statements are true for people in your care. What happens when there's a visitor that comes? What do? The critical change, which is what I've mentioned in my previous video, is the person-centered care. It's moved from responsive domain into caring domain. It is no longer assessed as a service delivery question. It's not a question anymore. It is now assessed as a question of compassion and dignity. And where does your home fit in with this? What does the home do? What does it mean to you? What does it mean for you? It means clinical care alone? That's not enough. You need to evidence that each resident is being supported as a whole person. Their holistic needs, all of their needs have to be seen to. So let's look at the history, the preferences, their interests, and their identity at the center of every day that they are with you in the care home. So let's talk about person-centered care right now. What outstanding actually looks like. Let me read you the exact KLOE, person-centered care, from the draft. Okay, this is the draft framework. The key line of inquiry is, do people receive personalized care, which ensures they are the center of their care, support, treatment, and choices. The scope includes appropriate and personalized care, support and treatment, empowerment and decision making, and meeting personalized cultural, social, spiritual, and religious needs. Now, here is what outstanding looks like according to the actual document. People are helped and supported to generally express their wishes and their preferences. People at this service can automatically be themselves and live the life that they choose. Care goes beyond meeting clinical or personal needs to supporting and empowering people to achieve what is important to them. Now, there are creative ways of reflecting people's personal histories, cultures, background, and the service strives to match staff with people's interests and their personalities. So the service, it embodies how to make this happen for people. What is the approach? Read those words carefully. Outstanding is not about whether your care plans are filled in correctly. It is about whether each resident can be authentic, be themselves, whether service actively finds creative ways to reflect their personal history, whether it goes beyond clinical care or what is important to that person as a human being. Now, here is what's required to make the improvement work. This is what it kind of looks like. And I want you to be honest with yourself about what any of these apply to in your home. People's care is often task focused and does not center around them and their whole life needs on personal choices. People's individual needs, personal, cultural, spiritual, religious needs related to other protected equality characteristics, and this is not well understood or considered and met. So the way care is delivered can increasingly balance in favor of the needs of the priorities of the service and the staff rather than the people, the individuals who need the care, the individual's story, their interests, their preferences. That is the requirement improvement under this framework, and here is inadequate. So let's look at this. Care records are standardized with no evidence of individual or person-centered care. People and those important to them are not involved in the decision about their care, support, and treatment. If your activity records look the same for every resident, then there's a problem there. If there is no evidence, no individual evidence of what each person loves, what engages them, how they respond, that is inadequate territory under this framework. So I'm going to go into independence, choice, control, activities, and well-being. The second is KLOE. I want you to focus on independence, choice, and control. This one is particularly relevant for activities and well-being because explicitly this involves activities in its scope. So for example, are people supported, empowered, and maintain their independent relationships and choice over their care and plans for the future? Now I'm on this video here now, and I want you to listen to what I'm actually saying, because you as the provider need to understand when you're watching, whether you're watching this now or whether you watch this in a month from now or before the June deadline. And the scope explicitly lists activities and well-being. This is the KLOE where the activity program sits. Now here's what good looks like. This is where you've got to pay close attention to this. Now if people wish to, for example, be encouraged and enabled to access meaningful activities, hobbies, and interests in a personalized way, people are offered, for example, meaningful and genuine choices. People's skills, life experience, and their strengths are discussed with them and those involved in their care to understand how their short, mid, and long-term life choices are, what their goals are, what are their ambitions, what are their outcomes. So this can be planned and achieved. So people are supported so that they are able to live the full quality of life, for example. Now, people are supported to establish and maintain relationships and networks that are important to them, with access to family, friends, cultural connections, and advocacy whilst using the service. Now, this is about outstanding what this looks like. People feel nurtured and supported to enjoy opportunity, experiences, and help them to thrive. And that has a positive impact on the quality of life. The service actively creates opportunities for people to explore new interests and build connections working in partnership with a wide range of community groups and organizations. So I'm going to say that again. The service actively creates opportunities for people to explore new interests and build connections with working in partnership with wide range of community groups and organizations, and requires improvement. This section is about requires improvement. The service does not consistently support people to follow their interests, access meaningful activities, hobbies, or they are not encouraged to take part of social activities or maintain personal or community relationship. Now, this is what you need to look out for within your care home. Are there residents that are just sat there not doing anything, where there's an activity going on but they're not being included? Is this happening in your care home, for example? The last part I want to say for requires improvement is not consistently supporting people to follow their interests if your activity program runs the same activities for everyone. That means you may have a singer, Elvis, for example. I'm just saying Elvis out the top of my head. And not everyone enjoys listening to Elvis singer, for example. Okay? Or, there could be a certain genre of music. Maybe not everyone wants to listen to the same genre of music. So what about creating individual interests and looking at, are you reflecting this? If the evidence of meaningful engagement is not recorded for each and every resident, that is a requirement. That needs improvement under this framework. So what this means in practice, okay, let's talk about this. So let's translate all of this into plain English. The new CQC framework is essentially asking 3 questions. Every resident in care should, number 1, do we know who this person is really? Do we know who they are, what their background is? What was their job in previously? Their history, their interests, what they love, what matters to them culturally, spiritually, and personally. Number 2, are we using that knowledge to shape what we do for them every day? Not just clinical care plans. What about their life, their activities, their relationships, their sense of self? Number 3, can we prove it? Not through assurances, not through generic activity log, through specific individual session by session evidence that each person's preferences are being met and outcomes are being tracked. Most care homes can answer yes to this question. To question 1, they know their residents. But can many answer partially yes to question 2? They try to personalize activities for every resident. And I know it's difficult if you've got 50, 100 residents, 200 residents, for example, but you've got to do it now. There's no reason. For example, almost none on this one answer yes to this question number 3. They cannot generate consistent individual session level evidence automatically. That is a gap. And that is what the new framework is going to expose. So this is the reason why I've created the person-centered activity tracker and the activity engagement packs to care homes. We can provide it daily, weekly, monthly. It really is important. So what this involves is newspapers, magazines, large print puzzles, books, reminiscence cards, dementia-friendly activity sheets, season-themed content. Everything your team needs to run a meaningful, personalized activity delivered to your door. And every pack includes the digital outcome tracker. For every session, the coordinator logs in under 2 minutes on their phone, your phone, for example, the company's phone, tablet, This is also ICO GDPR protected as well. The resident's name, the activity, it's your dashboard, attendance, duration, and then it scores. On a 1 to 2, 3 scale, mood before and after social engagement, cognitive stimulation, and physical participation. These scores calculate automatically, generating mood improvement scores and outcome scores per resident per session. At the end of each month, the dashboard generates automatically a finished CQC evidence report showing attendance rate across every resident, average mood improvement scores, social engagement outcomes, cognitive stimulation data, physical participation, every session, every resident, every month, automatically. This evidence map is directly working with the framework. The outstanding characteristics is what you want to achieve, and this, I believe, will do so providing you follow the tracking training that we provide. So I want you to think about the 12th of June. Don't see it as a threat, see it as an opportunity for you to get a good rating, outstanding. I want to encourage every care home manager, care home watching this video to submit their response to CQC as well, so that you can talk to them and see what it is for you. I also want to talk to you about this opportunity to build something that will be serving your residents as an individual and their stories, their interests. Work towards the outstanding characteristics. So, like I said, this is not a regulatory target. This is a mission. Every person, every story, every day, no one should be left out. I would like for you to book a free 20-minute with me so that I can talk to you about the tracker and what it can offer to your care home. I can talk to you about the activity pack, what is in the activity pack. We can provide it daily, weekly, or monthly to your care home. It gets delivered to your door. And like I said, just click the link here, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and watch the next video that I'll be producing. So stay tuned. I'm Christine Crowell, founder of Dominique Carrington Advisory, 35 years in care, and I will see you in the next video. Take care now.